Oh my gosh. Oh my word. Oh my lord. Hi. Yeah, I don't have the loop going at the moment. I'm just marveling over the digital lineup date-wise today. I don't know if you realize this, but it is 2/22/22, February 22nd, 2022. So the way we write it out over here is 2/22/22. So all the numbers line up, and I guess we get a cigar, or we go to war. I don't know what the options are. But anyway, I'm happy to be here to remark on such frivolous things today on my Tuesday live stream. You know, I love doing this. I must have gotten about 300 down since lockdown under my belt, as it were. And I hope to continue to do them. Some days I'll tell you I don't really feel up to it, or I'd rather be doing something else, and then something compels me to just go online for a little half an hour here to try and entertain you. So, okay, I have a new little bag of tricks, gizmo. I'll just play for you and listen up real good. That's, well, no, that's just the radiator. That's the Radiator Plus. Oh, I don't know. John would have said electronic bromo seltzer. Oh, these are some new delay pedals I'm trying out. I haven't decided whether to keep them or not, but the company was nice enough to send them to me. They certainly kick up quite a racket there. He was capable of making kind of a beautiful racket. It's just a racket, folks. This is my gimmick. No. As I mentioned before, solo acoustic is my favorite mode because there's nowhere to hide. You can't really fake it. You can't make it till you fake it or fake it till you make it. You gotta just do it in the arena, and then they can, and then they can't teach, or something like that. But, so welcome to 22222. There's a lot of multiples of 2 in there. You know, a multiple of 66666, actually, but who's counting? It's definitely, everybody's glued to whatever, favorite news source they like to suck on. I mean, I shuttle between MSNBC, CNN, and Fox, because I like to see what those rascals are up to over there. And this has divided many a family here in America. Like, well, what source of news do you trust? Or do you prefer to get your news? Me, I read as much as possible and try and synthesize an opinion out of what seems to resonate as truthful and what doesn't. But it's hard to know, and with, Trump and company pointing the finger for so long now at fake news, it's really, the whole thing has become like a Philip K. Dick scrim of misinformation and meta-realities, and now the name of the new Facebook is Meta, is it not? So it's really what lies beneath, what's underneath all this bad vugum, again, as Van Vliet would have put it. I don't know, but it's we're definitely going to be finding out soon enough some unpleasant truths. I know about 20 minutes ago I got a notification from the good old New York State Department of Labor asking me to verify that indeed I was working either as a salaried employee or a freelancer. I haven't been a salaried employee since 1990. So I've been on that freelance precipice now 32 years. But could I furnish documentation? And why, you may ask? Well, there was a thing called PPU, pandemic. What did that stand for? But it was a stimulus package of money under Trump that definitely put a chunk of money in everybody's pocket here in America who had worked in lieu of gainful employment going on because of the pandemic. But apparently they'd fired most of the employees in this period, so no one was taking very good records. And now they want verification that it's really you and you did get this money, because if not, you might have to forfeit all the money back to them. Go figure, folks. It's just yet another, absurd layer of bureaucracy one has to cope with on a day-to-day basis living here. But, we have evidence of all this. It's just a question of uploading it and finding it and jumping through yet another hoop. What I want to know is, when is the next round going to be apportioned for freelance musicians or freelance artists? No one has really, outside of the artists themselves, been talking about this in a while. We don't really have an effective lobby anywhere. I want to thank Mark Rebo for trying to get something done in that regard. I got an email from him to submit stuff to the New York State Legislature demanding a reinstatement of this money, because as we all know, gigs are really hard to come by as musicians, and there's a big backlog of people whose gigs were canceled, also their livelihood along the way in trying to deal with COVID. So I thought that was admirable, and I hope something good will come of that he would stand up to try and organize such things. Good on you, Mark. And what else can I say? I'm in the same boat as all my other fellow musicians who are counting on this as their, this has been this is my income and livelihood since There's a beautiful, nice, like bit of magic there. It's magic. Yo ho ho. See, I know this will come in handy somewhere along the way. Yeah. Sounds a bit like the old Eventide harmonizer or synthesizer, guitar synthesizer, but the last time I saw a band that had some pedals I had really utilized before was a long time ago, and that was Stereolab. Big favorite of David Stubbs, my friend David. Dave, I hope you're watching. Here's a shout out. David is writing a history of English comedy. I can't wait to read this. Maybe it's coming out in the near future. One hopes so. I tried to steer him to Derek and Clive. That was a bit of strong meat for old Dave. It's certainly not anything PC at all. If you know this routine of Peter Cook and Dudley Moore on the nom de plume, not the ages, Derek and Clive, to Cockney, I guess laborers, layabouts, definitely on the obscene, smutty side, but hilarious nevertheless, because apparently it was all improvised. There are a couple of albums that if you're into such things, you might check out, because they will guaranteed to raise a smile. That was the Beatles sang Sgt. Pepper. Guaranteed to raise a smile, but guaranteed to offend some tender sensibilities, that's for sure, especially now. I don't know what one is supposed to do, I'm just keeping on, but yeah, you know, I mean, chacun son goût, you know, as long as everything is kept in within the boundaries of good taste and decorum, I'm all for it. When it gets a little ropey, I'm all for that too, but as long as it doesn't impinge on one's personal liberties, etc., etc. This is also some interesting questions that I don't know the answers to, but we're finding out as we go along. It seems like now, especially with the New York Times, after a couple of years of, you weren't supposed to mention all sorts of subjects, certainly of an erotic nature, they're sort of making up for lost time. Now it's okay. So I come out to discuss such basic, you know, mundane, everyday fare. But no, it was radioactive for a while, and God forbid you were writing for them. You know, you wouldn't want to cross the old brain police up there, would you? No. I can think of some writers in particular that come to mind, but I don't want to call them out here. Anyway, I hope everybody's flourishing within their own space right now. So, okay, I should just shut up and play before I get further into hot water here. Now, we're coming up at the end of May to the 25th anniversary of the untimely death of Jeff Buckley, which is weighing on my mind a lot, as usual. And anyway, it was a real tragedy. And I'll just play Grace now with some new twists here. veritable rainforest. Sonic wonderment. Yes. We're going someplace warm. Okay, well, I think I'll keep this little box here. Somewhere off the coast of the Amazon, Werner Herzog territory. I love some of the lines in the documentary about Herzog making Fitzcarraldo, where he goes, "Nature is obscene, the very jungle screams obscenities," in a thick German accent. One of my favorite directors, and certainly the soundtracks by Florian Frick and Popol Vuh for the spate of films of his, Aguirre, Nosferatu, Fitzcarraldo, Cobra Verde, are just incredible, indescribably great. Also, they're always really, they bear looking at over and over again. There's always something going on. Well, I'm sort of now contemplating the next move here, which is going to be the Thursday show. If I do a Thursday show, probably will do so. I need to hear from you, though. I need more encouragement. You know, I know it's kind of like I'm an old stick at this point. Stick it in the craw, hopefully. But yeah, you know, keep those cards and letters coming in because I love to get feedback, and you know, please encourage me if you like what you hear. I got a million of them. Certainly some new boxes to play with that add to the wonderment. I did replace the GK lunchbox, which I'd fried. I think I related in a duel, a guitar duel with Michael Caroli of Cannes some years ago, that we absolutely wrestled to the pinnacle of sonic expression at 2 a.m. at the Cooler, a former meat locker on 14th Street, right next to the actual meat locker of 14th Street back in the day. It was a good pickup point, I guess, for out-of-towners cruising the meat district for whatever, tranny hookers mainly, but sorry, I didn't mean to insult any transsexual people there. Just built that way. Now, yeah, the battle endeth when the amp just gave up the ghost. I couldn't produce the sound, and then I spent a couple of weeks really in a futile gesture to replace a speaker or the fuse that blew in the amp. I don't know, finally got it working again, but it was a horror. And well, so now that officially gave up the ghost here, it's making all sorts of rude noises. So I have a Boss Katana with a 12-inch speaker, which is doing the job beautifully. It may be too loud, actually. I'm trying to get this whole thing in balance so that you can enjoy it over the ether there. And I don't know, I keep taking old pedals out of line and trying new combinations. You think I'm bad with this? You should have seen Lou Reed back in the day. My friend Lou was the biggest gearhead. You wouldn't believe it, but it's true. I mean, I said to him, I loved you when you were playing Sears and Roebuck amplifiers. He had a silver tone, famously, I think, on the back, or in a photo from the Banana album era. That's what he was playing through, and that was a fairly cheap, large but cheap amp from Sears. I believe it was Sears Silvertone. Sears being a huge conglomerate. I don't even know if they're still in business, but that was like a, you know, bogus merchandise. There would be the Sears version of like a famous product. They would knock it off. Anyway, so this amp, I don't know what it was knocking off, but it produced a loud squawk, so it was perfect for Lou back in the day. Plus, as far as guitar strings, I said you could be playing with chicken wire, a baling wire, as far as I was concerned, you know, just because he had such expressive flair on the guitar. One of my favorite guitarists, still is. And he enjoyed the compliment. But meanwhile, I spent an afternoon up at his apartment when he was still with Sylvia Morales, still married, and people came over all day, all afternoon, round the clock, with guitars and amplifiers for Lou to check out and bestow his blessing upon, or reject out of hand. It was just, I couldn't believe it, because I'm so not that way. Although I tell you, this year I'm getting more like that. I don't know, but he was so into trying to, distill the ultimate sound with his guitars, and he was quite fetishistic about gear. And anyway, the upshot, I've told the story before, but what the heck, was he handed me some custom-made electric guitar with a floating tremolo bar, and he was singing its praises, and he was like, "You downtown boys would really appreciate this. It's got the switch. It'll provide a mid-range cut when you put it in this position." I didn't even know what he was talking about. Frankly, I just play these things and tend to wring sounds out of it as best I can. So anyway, he handed me the guitar to check out, and I immediately ripped the whammy bar right out of its socket in a frenzy of enthusiasm. And he looked horrified. He looked horrified, his face curled up, and then he went, "You're an animal, Gary. You're an animal." First I was a little bit taken aback by this, like, am I being insulted here? And then I thought, wait a second, Lulu had a record called Rock and Roll Animal. Now there's our rock and roll spirit animal, Lulu. Lulu, right on cue, she hears about animals and she reacts. Lulu just came from the groomer. She's looking spiffy for a 14-year-old lady. Very cute. And we got the peanut butter off her. Caroline feeds her treats in the morning, or her vitamins in little chunks of peanut butter, which often go coating on her whiskers, and then she has to be groomed more often. But anyway, I think it's time to go. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Such a historic day. 2/22/22, and what does that all mean? I don't know. Just another day here in New York City. Just a New York conversation. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Love you guys, and I'll see you Thursday.